Today, our topic is diabetic retinopathy. Diabetic retinopathy. It is the leading cause of blindness in patients between 25 to 74 years of age in the developed countries. Now, what is diabetic retinopathy? It is a microangiopathy of retinal capillaries. As the name suggests, micro means small and angiopathy means vessel related abnormality. Diabetic retinopathy is related to diabetes. Chronic hyperglycemia leads to biochemical and physiological changes leading to anatomical endothelial lesions. Now coming to the risk factors of diabetic retinopathy. Number 1, duration of diabetes is directly proportional to the risk of DR. Number 2, poor diabetic control with increased levels of HbA1c. Number 3, pregnancy associated with acceleration of diabetic retinopathy changes. Number 4, hypertension, stroke, and other cardiovascular disease. Number 5, diabetic nephropathy. Increased serum creatinine levels correlate with the risk of DR. Cigarette smoking and alcohol consumption might have a relation with diabetic retinopathy. Now coming to the pathogenesis of diabetic retinopathy. First step is biochemical mechanism of cellular damage. The causative agents for these are number 1, polyol pathway. Normally, cell use glucose for energy. Any glucose not used for energy enters this polyol pathway. Here, glucose is converted to sorbitol with the help of aldose reductase enzyme. When blood glucose level is normal, this interchange causes no problem as aldose reductase has a low affinity for glucose. But in hyperglycemic state, affinity rises causing much sorbitol to accumulate. Number 2 is glycation. It is non-enzymatic attachment of glucose or sugar to a protein or lipid compound. These glycated proteins have various deleterious effects. They cause vascular damage and also induce the release of reactive oxygen species. Now, all these factors together cause damage to the pericytes. Say this is a picture of retinal capillary. The green colored cell is pericyte. Pericytes are cells that wrap around the endothelial cells that line the capillaries. These factors cause damage to the pericytes, which results in loss of pericytes, which is the earliest sign of diabetic retinopathy. Due to the loss of pericytes, the blood vessels become leaky and the basement membranes become thickened. In the picture, you can see this thickening of basement membrane. Now, due to the leakage and thickening, the capillaries are occluded which results in hypoxia, which causes retinal ischemia, which stimulates the angiogenic stimulators like vascular endothelial growth factor or VEGF, and which ultimately results in neovascularization, which is the hallmark of diabetic retinopathy. DR is of two types: non proliferative DR or NPDR and proliferative DR or PDR, which characterized by new vessel formation. Now coming to the non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, the earliest finding is microaneurysms. It is localized outpouching formed where pericytes are absent. It is developed in inner nuclear layer of retina. You can see this as small red dots in the fundus. Next is retinal hemorrhage. First is dot blot hemorrhage. This is due to rupture of that microaneurysms. It is found in outer plexiform layer. Then flame shaped hemorrhage. In the picture you can see this flame shaped retinal hemorrhage. It is found in nerve fiber layer. Next finding is exudates. These are basically lipid and lipoprotein deposits due to breakdown of blood retinal barrier due to breakdown of blood retinal barrier. These are seen in outer plexiform layer of retina. In the picture you can see this waxy yellow colored lesion. Now the cotton wool spots. The cotton wool spots are basically collections of neuronal debris. These are found in nerve fiber layer of retina. In the picture, you can see this creamy white, waxy, fluffy lesion. Now, what are the venous changes found in NPDR? This is looping. This is called beading of veins. This is tortuosity. They are all found due to ischemia of retina. Now, one more very important finding you should know is IRMA. It is intraretinal microvascular abnormality. The retinal arteries are basically end arteries. Due to retinal ischemia, there are collateral formation in these retinal arteries. This is known as IRMA. We have a rule to grade the severity of NPDR. We call it as 4-2-1 rule. The criteria are: number 1, severe hemorrhage in all four quadrants of retina. In this rule, we divide the retina into four quadrants. Number 1 criteria is severe hemorrhage in all four quadrants of retina. Number 2 is significant venous bleeding in at least two quadrants of retina. Number 3 is IRMA in at least one quadrant of retina. If any one is present, then we call it as severe NPDR. If any two is present, we call it as very severe NPDR. Now coming to the proliferative diabetic retinopathy. Neovascularization is found in the following areas. Number 1, on the optic disc and one disc diameter area around the disc, which is known as neovascularization of disc or NVD. Anywhere beyond this area comes under NVE, which is known as neovascularization elsewhere. New vessel formation also occurs in iris, which results in neovascular glaucoma. Now, coming to the treatment of diabetic retinopathy. For NPDR, the only advocated treatment is control of diabetes and associated risk factors like hypertension and cardiovascular disease. For PDR, the treatment of choice is pan-retinal photocoagulation. It works by decreasing the oxygen demand and thereby reducing hypoxia and VEGF release. It is basically laser treatment of eye. The procedures involves creating thermal burns into the peripheral retina by using argon laser. The wavelength used is 510 nanometer. Duration of burn is 0.05 to zero point 0.1 second. Number of burns are 1200 to 1600. Anti-VEGF drugs can be used as another option. The drugs are ranibizumab and bevacizumab.